but yeah, I'm going to have him present today and talk a little bit about about his process, and I think it's going to be very educational, entertaining, and should be quite a conversation piece, especially for any entrepreneur who is just starting out and trying to figure out how to maybe raise a little capital.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's not just a product launch or relaunch, because they actually bought it from. We'll go into more details when he comes on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the presentation today. Welcome, Patrick. How are you, my friend?
Very good. We're melting in heat here, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
I thought I'd get in the spirit of the moment with my hat.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Welcome, Cheryl. Welcome, Michelle. Michael, great to see y'all. Yeah, I was just kind of giving a prelude to the presenter today. I'm pretty excited to have him present to the group, and just from the concept alone of how they're going about launching this is really super fascinating to me, and I'm already adopting a lot of his techniques, but we'll go into that more so here in just a minute.
What's the gentleman's name?
Jonathan Tanner.
Tanner. Huh. Interesting.
Jonathan's out of I think he's out of the Bay Area of California. Look him up. Yeah. I think he's more South Bay, Sunnyvale area or something like that, but he says San Francisco Bay Area, which is a pretty big area.
Yeah, say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I basically grew up in Mateo, so moved there when I was two years old. My father got a transfer from Beaverton, Oregon to San Mateo.
Okay.
So, yeah, great area. Although I'm hearing San Francisco is kind of a pit nowadays.
It's so unfortunate, because that has been one of my most favorite places to visit, and man, I have no desire to go there right now. Yeah, I lived in both the East Bay, Pleasanton, San Ramon, Walnut Creek area, and then also in South Bay and Campbell, which is just right there out of San Jose and on the way over to Santa Cruz.
Right.
Los Gatos. My wife worked in Los Gatos, and just really have some fond memories of being in that area.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunately gone downhill. And I was just in San Diego, another one of my most favorite places to travel to, and San Diego is almost just as rough as San Francisco now.
I know, Breck. We played golf at the Presidio, and I was running late. We stayed at the 19th hole a little too long, and my friend needed picked up. We were staying at the Palace Hotel, and it's a beautiful hotel down there. That's when Michael Douglas's The Game ended up there when it crashed. But we were staying at the Palace, so I got from the Presidio to the Palace in 20 minutes. I looked like Steve McQueen in Bullet.
In other words, you got all four wheels off the ground when you went over.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate what society has kind of gotten to, and there's so much there's so much anxiety and mental illness and all that's going on.
Drugs.
When we went back there a couple years ago, we stayed at the Palace, and around the corner is John's Tavern, where that Maltese Falcon was filmed.
Oh, okay. And
it still has the 1940s decor, but now you're tripping over homeless and shopping carts and drug needles, and it's just, you're right. It's sad. It's tragic.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Crazy world. Crazy world. But, It's the positive people that keep reinforcing where we need to drive society, I guess. That a fair statement to make?
Yeah, definitely. I know that you know that there's so much that is trying to be done, but sometimes we overstep and try to do too much, and then people become dependent upon that. So there's a fine line, right? In the whole welfare system, and if I've heard a quote, I need to dig it up, and it basically kind of explained that when you give something to someone for free without them having to do anything for it, they're grateful the first time, and then the second time less gratitude, the third time it kind of becomes expected, something around the fifth or sixth time it becomes an entitlement, right? And so it's a very fine line in helping people if they're not willing to help themselves. I remember when I
always talk about skin in the game.
Yeah. When I lived in South Bay area there in Campbell, I had a little work truck. I was doing home improvements back to earn money for college, and I had this little work truck, and I'd just go around to the warehouses and pick up the broken pallets that they'd thrown out, and we would fill up the back of the truck and drive down to Santa Cruz. And they, I don't know if they still allow it today, but you could have an open fire right on the beach. And so that was really a fun and very inexpensive date night for newlyweds. I'd take my wife, and we'd go down. Sometimes we would, even cook right over the open fire and have our dinner right there on the beach. A lot of fun. So, well, I just texted.
I was living in LA with, I'm just saying, I was living in LA for a lot of years, and my wife and I used to go up to San Francisco like 4 times a year. I had an office in somewhere in the South Bay, Sunnyvale or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just love the city.
Yeah.
Love the city. You stay in Sausalito at the Casa Madrona Inn, and go across the bridge and go to the Buena Vista. You ever been to the Buena Vista?
Only one time. Yeah, it's been a long time ago.
Oh, I used to love that place.
Yeah.
We'd go in there and have Irish coffee.
Yeah.
Great place. And let me put it to you this way. Last statement. I've been going to the Buena Vista so long that the bartenders have been retiring.
That's great. That's great.
There's a guy with a Fu Manchu that was there every year. He retired.
Yeah. Well, so Moshe, I had a call with Gary yesterday with the electrolytes company. That's a pretty interesting product. I'm looking forward to getting more information. He's actually going to send me out some samples.
I just received my sample the other day, and the other thing that's good about Gary's, I don't want to take up too much time, is the fact that what you're going to get is a basic sample of what they have, but they can add other factors for people who want special needs, such as things as an example for sleep or concentration. So he's able to add that to the formula, so they can either buy it as a separate and add it to it, or maybe even for a large enough order, put it together into something else. So you might want to broach that with him as well, because I know he didn't spend enough time discussing.
Yeah, I know one thing that's very needed right now is an anti-nausea for chemo patients. So I know that the BioLite product has that already added, and it's being used quite regularly with patients going through cancer treatments.
And he really is a good person, which is why I was so glad to be able to set up that encourage him to meet with you. So
yep,
that's good.
Yeah, no, appreciate that introduction, and that's what this group's all about, right? Is we're introducing and getting to know each other, and then making introductions for each other to other business leaders that may be beneficial to what we're working on. And when Bob and I started this, it was right tail end of the pandemic, and so we were just kind of looking for a way to kind of help get some of the local businesses together here in Arizona, and it quickly expanded outside of Arizona, and started to attract people from all parts of not just the country but the world, like Patrick. We always enjoy his attendance here from Ireland, and we have an occasional pop in from Mexico City, and I'm trying to think of all the different places. Of course, the Philippines, and
Australia.
Yep, Australia. We have some. I need to reach back out to our friend that's out in Portugal too, and make sure they're doing. I know it's a huge time difference for folks like Patrick to join us very late in the day for him, but we're glad you're here. I want to welcome to the stage today Jonathan Tanner. I'll give a more formal introduction here in just a minute, but just a reminder of what this is all about. We get together. This group has grown. It's almost 200 people now that get the weekly newsletter, and it's anywhere from doctors, lawyers, scientists, PhDs, a lot of PharmDs because my industry, entrepreneurs and business leaders who meet here, and all kind of based on the same principle that I learned well over 30 years ago in my sales training from the late great Zig Ziglar. That you'll get all you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want. And more recently, Tony Robbins talks about the secret to living is giving. And so that's really kind of the mission to this group here is, and why we call it a not just a mastermind group, but a mastermind referral group, because we are giving each other referrals and receiving those referrals. I've been a beneficiary. We were just mentioning, Mr. Math introduced me to someone that may be a really good fit with my community pharmacies here. So certainly appreciate that. Back in the day, I used to have my little Rolodex. Used to actually get business cards, if you remember that. And so I felt like that my superpower was that I know a guy. Now with technology, it's made it that little Rolodex really expand to literally thousands of people. And so, if we can collaborate together and look at our connections and see who fits with what everyone is doing, then we can make some really good, meaningful connections that way. And so, always grateful to mycity.com for hosting us. This is an amazing platform that I have my bio up on, so that it's another searchable. When somebody's looking for Breck rice, that's another place Google can direct them to is mycity.com. And Bob has an amazing story there. If you haven't ever heard it, have a one-on-one with him, because this was kind of like the whole platform way before you even could put ratings on businesses and stuff like that. This was that original platform to be able to rate someone and give them a thumbs up, or if it was good service or what have you. So mycity.com now has the referral wizard that we all should be using. So we are grateful to get together and listen to presenters every once in a while, and so today wanted to turn some time over to Jonathan. We met a couple of weeks ago, and I've already incorporated him into my community pharmacy roundtables, because he's relaunching a product that you're going to see how simple this product is, but how fun it is, that it really resonates with retailers to want to have this in their store. But the whole way he's launching it through crowdfunding is something that I immediately saw the opportunity to help get our pharmacy partners more on board, because you've got to have some connection there. You've got to have some skin in the game, because a lot of the things we talk about require a little bit of education, even though it's going to be so beneficial to the pharmacy, so beneficial to their patients. It takes an explanation quite often on what those benefits are going to be. And how do you get that kind of buy-in when somebody is getting pulled in 55 different directions? Well, it goes back to, was it you, Bob, that said skin in the game? Somebody said something about having skin in the game. And so the way that Jonathan is relaunching this amazing product is absolutely that. It's not just getting a reseller; it's getting an evangelist of the product, and so I want to turn some time over to him to share those two concepts, not just the relaunch of this fascinating product, but then also the whole way he's going about launching it. So, Jonathan, welcome. Let me make sure you can share your screen here real quick. There you go. Yeah, should be able to share your screen now.
Right. Thank you for the introduction, Breck. I apologize, gentlemen. My voice is fading on me, so I'll try to make it brief here. But let me see if I got my screen pulled up here. So we are launching or we are resurrecting a product called Breath Rocks. And what Breath Rocks, it's a popping breath mint. So if you think back to the pop rocks that we all grew up with, there was a product on the market called Breath Rocks, and all it is it's a sugar-free pop rocks with zinc inside. And so a couple of folks late last year brought this product to me, and I said, well, there's three things you got to do with it. First thing you got to do is you got to rebrand it, because the packaging you have right now is too focused on the flavor and not really on the popping experience. And so we went ahead and have rebranded the product. This is one of our a little demo of it. It's literally being produced right now. And the second thing I mentioned was they need to go through independent pharmacies. As Breck well know, with there being about 20,000 pharmacies out there, you can tap into independent pharmacies a lot easier than trying to go to Walgreens and Walmart, things like that. And the third thing I mentioned, which is, what Breck was talking about, was utilizing crowdfunding, because now with the way that the SEC has changed crowdfunding, you can raise up to $5 million from as little as $100 per person. So I said, if you go out there, you could get thousands of pharmacies that put in, $1,000, $5,000, whatever, but you could have tens of thousands of people, consumers.
As an individual fund division, I wanted to make sure that you received my email invitation in regards to a happy hour that we are doing at the TSA.
So what that creates is an opportunity.
September 26th at 4:30 p.m. It is a.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No problem. So what you've got is, with crowdfunding, it creates an opportunity where thousands of consumers could put in as little as $100, and they could be, shareholders in your company. And so when you have a product like, Breath Rocks, which, naturally people are going to share gum and candy and mints with other people. But if they've got some skin in the game, like, Bob mentioned, I guess recently, it really gets people excited about sharing something even more than they normally would. So that was, kind of the idea behind this, was to say, rebrand it and utilize independent pharmacies as a way to get started, and then tap into crowdfunding. So that's the approach that we're taking, and we're actually going to be launching the product at the big National Community Pharmacy Association, their trade show, in the middle of October, and then we're also launching our crowdfunding round at that time as well.
Yep, we will be at that conference as well. We've invited our credentialing and billing partner to our booth as well, so we'll be at that same conference. So looking forward to that. But Any questions that have arose? Michelle, you got your hand up.
I do. Thank you. Hi, Jonathan. Thanks, and good luck with that.
Thank you.
So I'm in marketing research. I do primary and secondary qualitative and quantitative market research. I own a market research company based in Chicago. So generally, before a company launches a product, a new product, or relaunches a product under a new brand or new packaging, they do some type of consumer research to make sure that it meets the needs and performs according to expectations and promises. Did you do anything in that area?
Not officially. This product, when we talk about it being a relaunch, I didn't mention it had been sold on QVC and HSN. So there was about 1 million of these little bottles that are floating around out there. The downside was that they were selling this in a big $30 multi-pack. And so it's kind of a big ask to pitch somebody and say, hey, spend $30 on a big package of breath mints that you haven't tried yet. But they were able to be successful enough with that. So they did about $2.3 million in sales that way. And then they also did a Facebook campaign, online campaign, same problem, $30 thing. So I guess for me, when I heard about that there has been this much of the product that's been sold and that consumers were able to kind of jump, to that $30 level, my gut just told me that if we could put it in a little bit better packaging and sell it for, get people involved for 1/10 of the cost, that would be, that there would be something that would be, that consumers would appreciate. So that's really when we talk about like relaunching the product, we are rebranding it and then bringing it to, traditional retail environment, not an
PVC,
space.
Yeah. So yeah, just so based on my experience, and then I'll wrap up my little spiel, is that before companies generally invest a lot of time or money in anything like that, it always is prudent to at least get some preliminary feedback from consumers to make sure that you haven't missed anything. Because if you invest in new packaging, you invest your time in trying to get distribution and all of that. Our goal is to help companies minimize risk and maximize opportunities.
Yeah.
So
that's good feedback. I think if just the concept of saying, basically take the fun pop rocks and make them functional, it's a fun concept, but is that something that consumers are going to aggressively do? I think for us is that when I had heard that it had that much sales, that was enough quote unquote research, for me to at least get it out there. But certainly, we're going to be getting consumer feedback. That's part of the reason why we've been getting strategic investment from pharmacies, because again, I live in Silicon Valley. Even though, I'm an Arizona native, I did not want to go and try to get, quote unquote dumb money. We wanted to get money from people, from retailers. And so the response has been, they like the concept, but yeah, I agree with you, having research in general. And I think specifically as we do some other, types of product line extensions, we certainly should do that. So good point, Michelle.
Cool. Yeah, of course.
David, Rocky.
Jonathan, have you been, there's a group out of Kansas City here called 1 Million Cups. I don't know how many people have heard of it. It's the Kauffman Foundation. It's for startups and launches. They're all over the place, though. 1 Million Cups, it's called, and it's a great incubator for just going through ideas and things like that. So you might see if there's one in your area. I'm sure there is.
Okay, all right, I wrote that down. Thank you.
Like 1 million cups of coffee. That's what it is.
Okay, perfect.
I also recommend to people to put their information into the chat. So we send out at the conclusion of the meeting, we will send out the people that attended, as long as they have their information in the chat room.
Yep. And get a copy of the recording of this as well. Patrick, your hand's up next.
Jonathan, every success. Well done. You're cutting the big furrow there. Tell me, what is the purpose of the product? Why would somebody want to buy it?
Yeah.
Why would somebody want to use it? Why would you want it on your shelf?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's obviously probably where I should have started. Really, this product, it's a functional breath mint. When you look at the Tic Tacs and the Altoids of the world, I mean, that's basically candy. What Breath Rocks has in it is it actually has zinc. And what the zinc does is when you've got the zinc in your mouth, it works to neutralize the gases in our mouth that cause bad breath. So that's part of our sales pitch is, hey, look, Breath Rocks, I mean, Pop Rocks, those are fun, and but they're not really functional. And even, other breath mints, I mean, they have some function. I mean, they're a type of a candy that has a perfume, but this actually has not just cinnamon and watermelon and mint flavor, but it actually has zinc to give us, to actually give a function. So yeah, great question. I should have started there.
Yeah, and what I like about it is I like the zinc. We need a bit of zinc, but no sugar. I think that's really impressive. Sugar is destroying us, even though we like a bit of it. So are people having a lot of bad breath? And if so, why so?
Well, and that's where, you've got, out there different things where you're saying, I mean, there are some products out there where it boils down to, your bad breath and your oral decay is actually because of the acidity in your mouth. And so being able to have products that will kind of get that pH neutral, in your mouth. And so, for example, there's a collection of dentists that have created a product that creates a neutral pH balance in your mouth. And so that becomes something that if we can use Breath Rocks as kind of this Trojan horse, because it's a simple product, because it's a fun product, because it works, then we can say, all right, well, we can introduce people to these other types of oral care products that take a little bit more time to educate people, that are going to be something where they got to switch from Listerine, or they got to switch from these major companies. So I think that's where, like somebody else said, talking about how sugar is just killing us. One, if we can have a sugar-free breath mint, which there are some sugar-free breath mints out there, but then also be able to kind of use this as as a way to kind of get in the door with people, to introduce them to other innovative oral care products that they're just not familiar with.
Yep. Yeah, and some years ago people had said, were you eating garlic? Were you eating garlic? What are you at? And now I eat garlic, but I like garlic now. But you're going to solve that problem, Jonathan.
All right, well, we'll get you some Breath Rocks to chase that garlic.
Yeah. So Damar,
thank you.
Damar, besides your question, what are some of the other health benefits of the zinc? Right, there's more than just neutralizing breath. Damar, you're up next.
Right. The thing I was thinking about was zinc lozenges that people use for immunity.
Yep.
So that would be number one. Zinc for typically men don't get enough zinc, and so from that standpoint, depending on what the dose is, that could be another thing. Also, kids also don't get enough zinc. And so from that standpoint, that that's one of the three things I was thinking about when I heard that, is just and zinc for kids is actually a key factor in their ability to grow, and so from that standpoint, and what kid would not love to have mom say, yeah, you can have this because it's candy, but mom knows that it's also a way to get them to take a supplement that they normally wouldn't probably want to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. And in fact, two things off of that. One, I really appreciate that there was zinc in here, because if it had vitamin C or vitamin D, I mean, that stuff's a little bit more ubiquitous. But with zinc, it's, if you ask the average person, they have a hard time where do I get the zinc that I know that my body needs? So I think, zinc has kind of like that 100% approval rating. And secondly, you bring up a point with kids. Because we're launching through independent pharmacies first, I was really concerned that we had a bottle that differentiated it from traditional pharmaceuticals. And so even though this bottle that they originally launched with was white, we really wanted to differentiate the packaging. So we went with black, because, number one, we wanted to, kind of hit the nostalgia thing with the black packaging of Pop Rocks, but we also wanted to make it really crystal clear to kids that if they're going to be fumbling in mom's purse and, grabbing something, that they're not going to be potentially confused. Because our hope, of course, is that we're selling millions and millions of these bottles, but, statistically, there would be an overdose if we had them in a white bottle. And so we didn't want these pharmacies to feel like they were, possibly selling something that was unethical. So the black bottle, actually, we have to do a custom run for this color. But we believe it's going to help us in differentiating ourselves, and it also from a safety standpoint, because again, we hope that scenario you just painted there, which was, hey kids, it's kind of like kicks, kids love it, but it's mom approved, type of thing. So appreciate that.
Yeah. And Jonathan, do you have an affiliate program? Because Damar is not just a pharmacist, he's also a consultant to many pharmacists.
I think certainly, when it comes to introductions and things like that, I mean, we have this product, it retails for $349, and the pharmacies, they buy it for $174. So it has that 50%, keystone markup. But we have a distributor price because we, obviously recognize that we're going to have that. So certainly there's a margin in there for people who help, open the doors for us, on that. So, definitely there's some margin there to be able to compensate people who are helping to open those doors for us.
Excellent.
So Jonathan, my question was originally the question that Patrick asked, but you had also started by saying that there potentially might be kind of a sleep ingredient that you potentially. Oh no, never mind.
No, you're
confusing with another product. Yeah. So but the other question is, are you looking at other similar use applications outside of just the zinc, as far as?
Yeah, certainly. And in fact, our manufacturer who, co-invented this product, there's only 5 popping candy manufacturers in the world, and they're in Wisconsin. And so they actually utilize, or they're trying to help utilize this popping delivery system, kind of in the, candy-ceutical space. So there are other products that that this popping, candy platform can be used to, deliver. In fact, I don't know if you saw, but earlier this year, Emergency, those little packages that you get at the pharmacy or the convenience center store, they actually, normally you put that product in water. They actually worked with our manufacturer to create a version where you can just pour it in your mouth and it kind of pops and you get all that vitamin C, benefits. So that product launched. They didn't actually use our manufacturer. They went with a manufacturer in Spain. That product, it more fizzles. It doesn't pop like Pop Rocks, but that's an example that consumers can start to see, oh, hey, there's credibility of matching this popping candy with, XYZ ingredients. So I mean, you could have, in theory, things especially that have lower doses. So for example, even like you talked about sleep, melatonin, which has a it is a very small doses of melatonin are effective. In theory, if you're trying to help your kids go to sleep, like you were saying, hey, have some I guess it would be called sleep rocks or something like that. That's in theory could be done.
Yeah. No, and especially not only kids, but adults as well. As people get older, that's one of the number one issues they have with insomnia.
Yeah.
And so and then likewise, if they have other digestive issues, being able to get it in and get it in potentially, in fact, what I just thought about right now is vitamin B12. It's normally a sublingual dosage.
Yeah.
And so you would be able to bypass it so that it gets absorbed both sublingually, but also some of it will get in orally.
Yeah.
And so
you bring up a good point, because like Michelle said, market research, those are things that we would want to do market research on. And
yeah,
and that the other thing, we haven't done the clinical research, because, for example, these are 1 gram servings of breath rocks, where like a big pouch of pop rocks is 7 grams. So our zinc per serving is 1.5 milligrams of zinc per serving. And we need to be able to test how much is getting into your bloodstream, because you're right, with the transmucosal delivery system, you're going to get more into your blood than if you go through the digestive system. So we need to be able to say, yeah, this might be 1.5 milligrams of zinc, but that's the equivalent of X if you were, swallowing a pill, for example, so that we could, reference, when you're looking at melatonin or B12 or whatever, be able to say, this is a transmucosal delivery of this, which means this would be a, the equivalent oral delivery. So good point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then just one last
Jonathan,
thing.
Sorry.
There's a company that does drops for like zinc, and they do some other electrolytes and minerals. It's the name of the company is Elyte, ELYTE.
Okay.
And the reason why I bring that up is just as you mentioned right now, the zinc is you said 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5 milligram. Yep.
If there's a way to get it up to 4, that's especially for kids, that's a dose that would help them be able to as far as the failure to thrive. And again, that's going to kind of lead into the market research or the clinical research of what's an effective way to get those. But they've had that, and that was one of the things that I had in my pharmacy, that they would come in and I would be able to say to them, hey, this particular product, the zinc drops is something that you can give to your kid on a daily basis. And so if with your product, if you're able to get it to that same thing, so they only have to take 1 serving a day, that's huge.
Okay, I'll look at Eli. Thank you.
And what is considered a serving? Because you're not going to take the entire thing of breath rocks at one time, right? Don't you just pop in a couple?
Yeah, there's 12 servings,
okay.
and 12, and each serving is 1 gram, which it's kind of like about the size of about partway between like a nickel and a quarter, about that size, diameter.
Okay. Patrick.
Hello. Isn't this a fabulous conversation? Now, you're triggering a whole load of things in me, and I'm just going to focus on one, and that is magnesium. Now, it's very difficult, apparently, to measure the amount of magnesium, because most of it is stored in the heart, because it enables the heart and muscles to move all the time when necessary. But the heart is moving 24/7. And I have a research paper, if I could find it, that 80% of Americans, this lady specialized in this, 80% of Americans at the time were low in magnesium. And she suggested strongly that this was a a primary cause of heart attacks.
Well, I will put that on the list here, Patrick. I've written that down. So yeah, it's a good point. You know,
Hey, will you give me the credit if you include it? I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
The lifetime supply to Ireland. Absolutely.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
By the way, people, there's 14 people that attended, and only something like 9 of the people put their contact information into the chat. And what we do at the end is we send the chat plus the video of the meeting today to everybody. So it'd be nice if you included that information in.
Yep, appreciate that. Other questions for Jonathan before we move on? And we can also just popcorn it too. If something comes up as we're going through introductions, we can certainly address the questions that may come up. Get that reference, popcorn. Moshe,
thank you, Breck.
Your hands up.
Yeah, my hands up. In terms of price, what do you anticipate the price being individually, since you're not doing it in large packs, and how does that compare to the lifesavers or in my head I'm thinking of Dentyne, the gum.
TikTok or the Tic Tacs.
I don't know why Dentyne was in my head. I don't know why. Process.
No, good question. So our retail price initially is $3.49, which when you go in the, when you're in the convenience store aisle, you're seeing, the icebreakers and the Altoids. I mean, they're in that, $2.50, $3.50, $3.75 range. Tic Tac can be $1.60, $1.75 to $2. So we're on the high end of the spectrum. Now, certainly if you start looking at, servings per price, we're definitely on the high end, because, you're going to get you're getting breath savers. You're getting, 45 of those little tablets, where we're going to have 12. So we're certainly on the high end. A couple things with our production, we're going to be getting that down to $2.99 for retail price, and that gets it to $1.49 for a retailer. So we will be able to get there in the pretty near future. And then secondly, the feedback that we've gotten so far, now again, we haven't done the market research when it comes to the retail experience, but at least the feedback is that we've been kind of positioning this more as like the Red Bull of breath mints, where when Red Bull came out, obviously there was soda out there. They put taurine in soda and water, sugar and water, and they made it, a functional beverage. And they came out with a higher price point than Coke and Pepsi. Well, what all the soda companies did is they realized, oh my gosh, people are going to pay $3-something for a thing of Red Bull. Well, we should increase the price of our Coke and Pepsi. So that phenomenon, and that also happened like with native deodorant. They, P&G, they raised the price of their deodorants when they saw that people would be willing to spend, $10 for a thing of deodorant. So it's a long answer, but at least from a dollar standpoint, we're in the $3 range, just like, most of the other products in the $3 range per serving. We're more expensive, but we're going to get that lowered. And we also believe we're kind of giving people, more of an experience, similar to like a Red Bull would be out there. But, I certainly, we're going to work quickly to get it, under $3, because it's just, it's a psychological price point.
I have to make one other observation. Congratulations, you're coming out with this in larger scale just in time for masks coming back in vogue again.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things I used to tell people is that if the government had marketed masks better, they would have had more cooperation. Like if you want to tell people, if you suffer from bad breath, or if you want to have tuna fish for lunch, the mask is your savior. And if they had done it that way, it could have been tongue-in-cheek fun. I know Michelle probably, I don't know if she agrees with it, but I think they could have done better ways of promoting masks in a humorous way that people remember.
Moshe, I think that's funny. Really good.
So, but I'm sorry that you're coming out just in time for mask again.
So back to your Red Bull example, though, it was functional, right? It was performance, and so it wasn't just the taurine or the amino acid. It was glucuronolactone. It was all the vitamin B12. You know, it was a functional product, and so that's why, you know, they marketed heavily to the extreme sports and people that were looking for that extra cutting edge. So I know a thing or two about that particular product. I helped get it distributed nationally.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So, well, let's go around the horn real quick and take just about 90 seconds, minute and a half to introduce everyone and what you do. And I always like to start with ladies first. And Sherry, you're up first on my screen. Cheryl McBride.
Okay, thank you. What if you could leave funds for a house, a car, or a child, for a child or grandchild, for a cause? Buy a house for kids and set them up for life. It's easier than you think. Clients say their experience with me was memorable. They felt like they were my only client. Book a time with me to look at options for you. We work with individuals, small business, and especially women. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Cheryl. And Michelle, you're up next.
Well, I basically gave you my pitch already, but for those of you who don't know me, I am Michelle Elster, president and owner of Ray-Ban Research Company based in Chicago, working globally. We are a primary market research company helping companies use consumer data to minimize the risk, maximize their opportunities when they have big decisions to make. So we don't want you to have to use your gut, don't want you to have to fly by the seat of your pants. We want you to be feel more confident that the decisions you're making are correct.
And Michelle, it's impressive how long you've been at this.
Yes, the company is in its 61st year. I'm a second generation owner of the business. Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to carry on. My father, who started the business in 1963, is still alive. He's 96 years old this year. So I'm very grateful to still have him as a sounding board, even though he says, no, I don't want to hear about it anymore. So that's the 96 in him, but still grateful to have him around.
Michelle, where in Chicago are you?
I am, I work remotely now. We gave up our office downtown in 2019, just before the pandemic. And I am located in Lincolnwood. You know it?
Not well, but I was born in Skokie, and a lot of my cousins still live in the Skokie area.
Yeah, we're literally next door to Skokie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
Well,
thanks,
come say hello if you're ever in the area. So yeah, happy to greet people.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Michael Hamburger, I don't know if you're just able to listen in or if you want to introduce. There, you're in the car. That's why we don't want you to wreck. But my friend Michael
my
Hamburger.
office looks different from last time you were here. They're painting our building right now. So yeah, I'm going to just pull it in. Thanks for pulling me out, Michael Hamburger. I'm the CEO and founder of Easy Digital Marketing. Subsidiary is Easy Medical Marketing. I've been doing digital marketing since 2003. My business partner's been doing it at the same time. We help clients dominate the internet, whether they're looking for social media advertising, paid advertising, SEO assets. Look at as our core four, which is offer, assets, audience, and traffic. If you can connect the dots on those four, you typically have a winning internet marketing campaign. So I know I've met with several of you guys, including you, Breck, in the office here a couple weeks ago. I'm happy to assist anybody in the group here. If you guys want to get better results online, my contact information is in the link below. So look forward to connecting with you guys and gals.
All right, thanks, Michael. Yeah, got the privilege of going up and meeting him at his office and have a good sit down meeting. So enjoyed that. Mr. Rocky, David Rocky, why don't you go next?
Thank you. My name's Dave Rocky, and my company is Your Office SOS. Our SOS stands for Supported Outsourced Services. We offer a variety of remote solutions like virtual assistants and online business development. So if you're drowning under the waves of the details of your business, send out an SOS. Well, we need you to be working on your business, not working in it. A good lead for me is someone you know that needs to recover the most irreplaceable commodities, their life and their time. So before you drown in a sea of stress, call your office SOS and we'll turn your life from crappy to happy. And by the way, we have the Brainy Brunch right after this at 1 Central Time. It's in the links in my chat. And last week, as Lee Rosenblum will testify, we had an excellent discussion of health and vitamins and minerals, didn't we, Lee?
Awesome. I'm sorry I missed it. That's excellent. Thank you. All right, Moshe, why don't you go next?
As I'm moving to a place that has less sun, work on background. I'll tell you what, can you call someone else and let me know?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, and by the way, you need 20 minutes of good sun every day. But how do you get that without getting the bad rays too? We'll talk about that topic again in the future.
I hope you do. I'll be going outside for the sun, but the sun behind me doesn't make it easier for the rest of us. So.
Jeff Ward, you're next up in my screen.
I'll go. What a great group. Jeff Ward, Rhino Advantage, Impact Health Sharing, and very excited, happy, proud to be representing Impact, the nation's fastest growing healthcare provider, growing by 300% every month for the last 16 months.
Wow.
Amazing. We do no advertising at all. That even makes it more amazing. So we spread by word of mouth. What do we do? Well, we're nonprofit. We're powered by AI. And we're able to lower people's healthcare cost from traditional insurance by about 70% typically. And it's an open network, so you can go to any doctor, any specialist, any hospital. We're the first healthcare company to actually cover migrants living in the U.S. without a Social Security number if they live here from Mexico, Guatemala, or Canada. We work with any individual, family, seniors, and we are now signing up at least 5 small businesses every day. So we are exploding. And as of tonight, I'll know in about 5 hours exactly how we can help companies of any size. So
that's awesome.
It's just amazing what's happening. So we're very excited about that. Very happy to be here. Thanks, Breck.
And for here in Arizona, the important clinic and hospital to be in your network is Mayo, and not very many plans cover Mayo, but Jeff's plan does.
Ours is just give them your EDI number. We are on a commercial plan, just like Aetna, Cigna, Blue. Matter of fact, many of the hospitals actually deny many of the traditional for-profit insurance companies anymore. They're kicking them out. I know that a while back, Prescott, the main hospital up in Prescott, had kicked Blue Cross Blue Shield out, but they accepted us. And why do they do that? Because when they run that EDI number, they find that we pay our bills in an average of 10 to 12 days.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I sit around trying to collect on work comp claims for 120 days. So yeah, I would love to get paid in 10 or 12 days.
Yep.
Lee, why don't you go next?
Thank you. I had to mute myself because my gardener shows up right at this hour every week, and he's right there. Lee Rosenblum, I am a financial educator. I will teach you how to make money, save money, get out of debt, and pay less in taxes. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Appreciate that. And you also presented, what was the
CHAMPS plan.
CHAMPS. Yeah. So that's another one to look into and get more information about. All right, Moshe, you're back.
Yes, I am with a reduced background from the sun.
Yeah.
My name is Moshe Math. I'm a partner in a company called Neurotrain Sciences. The best way to describe our system, besides the fact that our system looks similar to the massages at the airport, and it uses sound, light, and vibration to take mind and body through voyage and relaxation through brainwave treatment. We coined a phrase called biofeed in. In biofeed back, you have to act a certain way, and then the results show up on the screen. I'm sorry, I'm just talking with my hands. Part of our culture. And biofeed in, you become the recipient of all these modalities simultaneously, and then you become the change agent as a result of it. So that's the term we use to describe that, as well as others I've used previously regarding brainwave treatment. So thank you all for your time.
Yep. It's a fascinating project. Please do a one-on-one with Moshe to get more information about their device. So my friend Patrick, across
Hello,
the pond.
everybody. Great to be here. Great to be here. I've been doing an audit of my friends, and, you know, they're all over 50, right? And I was asking them, you know, are you on medication? Now, there's nothing wrong with medication. It plays a part. But the discussion kind of went along, and they said, well, it's common. And I said, it is common, but it's not normal. And that caused another another kind of debate, you know. I said, so they said, what do you mean? Well, I said, look, have you noticed generally that younger people are healthier than older people? And we have to ask ourselves, as I did, why? Is it because their bodies produce quality healing instructions in greater abundance, enabling them to follow the rules that create health? Now, what is amazing is we can now replenish these instructions, enabling our bodies to come more into balance so that our cells can work as they used to when we were much younger. This is now regarded as the missing link. And the kind of people that I'm most interested in are people who may have a health challenge, who are health conscious, people who are athletic, or people who are exploring another income stream. And I just love what I do. I found my home at last, after all the years of messing around. Thank you, everybody.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Damar, you're up next.
Well, thank you. I empower pharmacy owners to make additional profits, or really sustainable profits, work fewer hours, hire and retain good people, and really become the respected leaders in the community. And so, you know, which results in them being a destination point for and a respected healthcare advisor. And you know, this also works for small businesses. So that's what I do. And my ideal customer is anyone that's looking to make more money, work less, and really get work on their business as opposed to in their business.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate all the work that you do. We work very closely together with our community pharmacies here in the U.S. So I'm, of course, Breck Rice, and one of your co-hosts, and I'm in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for over 20 years now, and I'm launching a new wellness platform that many of you are participating in or have listened in on, called the Fountain of Youth. You can't trademark the Fountain of Youth, so I just use the acronym FOY, F-O-Y, which stands for Fountain of Youth. And excited about setting up these wellness centers to help patients not just, you know, mask symptoms, but actually get better and live longer. And that's the reason why we're calling it the Fountain of Youth. Best way you could support me right now is I'm trying to build traffic on my YouTube. So if you'll go to my link tree, so my contact information is there in the chat. If you'll go to the link tree and subscribe to the YouTube, that'll help me get the word out. You're more than welcome to follow me on TikTok if you're young and hip like that. I'm not, but that's where a lot of the patients are. So, you know, there's over 110,000 people following those posts there. I wish I could convert them all over onto LinkedIn and have 110,000, or not LinkedIn. Well, that'd be nice too, but over to YouTube. But yeah, you can support me by subscribing to that YouTube channel. It'll help me get the word out to more patients. So, Bob, you've got the last word.
Yay, team. So, God, I've been on the internet for 31 years. I've been doing LinkedIn, where we manage accounts for people. I've been doing that 16 years. I love what I do. Like somebody else was saying that earlier. You got to love what you do. Otherwise, it just takes, then it's just agony. I also created a referral software that works really well. And in one of my other groups, there were 24 people that attended. This group runs every Friday at 8 a.m. LA time. And there were 22 referrals given. The week before, I think it was 26 and 24. So, you know, Harvard Business Review, Forbes Magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine. I repeatedly go back and do the study. All say that about 60% of most people's new business comes from referrals. So it's really key to how you grow your business. I own a website called mycity.com, and within that website, we do research for people of all their people's contact information that we can accumulate of their connections, and it works really well, you know.
I could give a quick testimonial. You probably helped me grow my LinkedIn connections by what, about 3,000 or more now. Marie may have the actual number, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I think it's actually more than that, but
yeah,
whatever. I mean, each connection creates value if you know how to communicate with people.
Yep. No, appreciate it. Moshe.
Quick question for Bob. I'm sorry I'm putting you on the spot, not meant disrespectfully. The fact that you have so many different things you offer, referrals, everything else, are you going to get to the point in the future where the same type of technique that Breck is using with YouTube is something that he could do on My City in the future?
You mean YouTube for My City?
The equivalent of maybe some other, either having the connection to go directly to My City from the YouTube video, or having a YouTube version, but with My City.
We do that all the time.
Yep. Yeah. You go to mycity.com. You'll see all of the posts on there. I'll be on there. A lot of people will be on there with the video recording. Jeff, I think you've done one. A few people have done a podcast interview with Bob, and then he posts those to YouTube as well as to mycity.com.
Yeah, it's all fun. You know, I started doing video interviews about 2 years ago, starting with Breck, and we've done over 200 interviews in the last year and a half, 2 years, something like that. So, and it's popular. You know, people, when we started out, the interviews were 15 to 25 minutes, like Breck's, but we reduced it to, now it's down to like 5 minutes of doing an interview. So you quickly get to the punchline, what's important to people, and you've got yourself somebody that's going to listen. They say, by the way, that people will size you up by looking at your body language and your facial gestures in the first 15 seconds or so. That says something, you know. Why not do a video where they get a better read of it than just typing?
Yep.
So that's my big gig.
Yeah, appreciate that. Well, appreciate everyone being here today. I know we're at the over the top of the hour here, so if you've got to run, I know my Lyft Uber will be here in about 3 minutes, so I've got to take off to the airport. But everyone have a great rest of your week, and feel free to join us and invite a friend next week. Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate the presentation. I learn something new every time, so keep presenting to me, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Take care.
Bye.
Breck, in 30 seconds, do you think I should be the one to broach that introduction, or do you want to do it? Or how do you want to handle that with Gary Kleiman?
Make the introduction. He's your connection, so that I'd love for that to come from you.
The fact that you feel comfortable with DeMar Lewis, I didn't know how you want. I'm leaning on your experience, so if you want,
DeMar is super easygoing guy, but I'd love for you to get the credit for making that introduction, because that would be a really good one for him.
That's fine. That's why I checked. Thank you both for your time.
Yep.
Bob, I need to get the email. Maria, please.